Welcome back to Barn and Soul, the podcast where we explore the quiet power of animals, the stories they carry, and the ways they reconnect us to what really matters. Today's episode is one that I've been wanting to do for a little bit now because it's not just about goats. It's about history, survival, and the quiet urgency of protecting what's almost been forgotten. This is the story of the Arapawa Island Goat, considered by many to be the most endangered goat breed on the planet in 2025. And if you've never heard of them, well, that's kind of the problem. If you've never heard of an Arapawa Island goat, you're not alone. Even among goat lovers, they're one of the least known breeds. But once you meet one, truly meet one, you will never forget them. Arapawa Island goats are a feral heritage breed that originally descended from Old English milk goats, possibly with Nubian influence. The goats are thought to have arrived there as early as the 1770s, possibly brought by British explorer Captain James Cook during his second voyage. Historical records suggest Cook released goats onto the island to provide a source of meat and milk for future travelers. But once left there, the goats were on their own. So for over 200 years, they remained isolated. Generation after generation adapted to the rugged terrain, steep cliffs, and dense forests of Arapawa Island, surviving without human intervention. They became their own unique population, both genetically and behaviorally distinct from modern domestic goats. And then, as the 20th century rolled in, so did the threat of eradication. And that's what makes them so remarkable and so fragile. So to be a feral heritage breed, that means that they were once domesticated but have since gone, quote, wild, or evolving independently. Their appearance is striking. Long, often curly coats in shades of black, brown, white, and fawn. Slim, agile bodies built for navigating rocky slopes, and a demeanor that's cautious, intelligent, and surprisingly affectionate once trust is earned. Their genetic distinctiveness has been confirmed by studies such as the one published in the New Zealand Journal of Zoology, which showed their mitochondrial DNA to be unlike any other domestic goat population. In short, they are one of a kind. And in 2025, they are critically endangered, with fewer than 700, registered Arapawa goats registered worldwide annually, and only a handful of breeding programs outside of New Zealand. So what happened? In the late 20th century, the New Zealand government saw the goats, now feral and free-roaming, as a threat to the native environment, particularly the island's unique plant species. Conservationists argued that the goats were destroying fragile native flora, and eradication efforts quickly began. At one point, the population dipped so low that they were nearly wiped out entirely. Thankfully, a group of local residents and international conservationists intervened, forming rescue operations and launching breeding programs to preserve the goats' lineage. But their numbers have remained critically low ever since, and today most Arapawas live not in the wild, but in sanctuaries, small farms, and conservation-focused programs just like ours here at Dalby. Dalby Farm has a special history with this breed. In the early 2000s, we welcomed our very first Arapawa generation, if you will, once we linked up with what is now known as the Plymouth Patuxent Museum. Situate, in particular, was a turning point for us. He was our very first kid to be born on our farm. He represented more than just the rare breed, but he was a literal link to the past, a living symbol of what could be lost when we don't pay attention. Situate, like most Arapawa bucks, was gentle, observant, and had an incredible ability to watch before engaging. He taught us patience, he taught visitors how to earn trust, and he sure loved to demand attention. Today, we're proud to continue his lineage through our current buck, Sheldon. Sheldon is curious, charismatic, and honestly a bit of a show off. He too loves attention, but only if he initiates it. His presence helps us educate kids and visitors about what it means to care for something endangered. Our Arapawa Island herd is small, but every life matters, and every visitor who meets Sheldon, Mabel, Betty, Trudy, walks away with a story, and that's how we keep the breed alive through experience, empathy, and education. Arapawa Island goats are natural climbers. They adapted to the steep cliffs and dense bush of the Arapawa Island, so their balance and agility rival that of wild mountain goats. They typically have long, shaggy coats with coloration, as I mentioned, ranging from chocolate brown to tan to black and cream. Their coats do change with the seasons, and honestly, some can appear frosted as they age. Unlike commercial goats, Araparas tend to have strong maternal instincts. They're attentive and fiercely protective of their kids. We've seen that many times with Mabel and her baby Betty. They're known for their independence and intelligence. Training them, it's not impossible, but it would take, you need to earn their trust first and foremost. But these aren't dogs, so it's not transactional per se. It's very much so a give and take relationship that's hard to predict. Their horns are often wide, sweeping, and dramatically curved, adding to their prehistoric look. Every Arapara has a distinct personality, and once they've bonded with you, it is for life. Some general facts that can be true for Araparas as well as your average goat. They're browsers. They're not necessarily grazers. So, unlike sheep or cows that graze low grasses, goats actually would prefer to browse shrubs, leaves, bark, and twigs. Their lips and their excellent vertical reach make them nature's gardeners, but it also makes them escape artists if there are tree limbs near a fence. So beware. Goats are among the smartest domesticated farm animals out there. In fact, studies have shown goats have the cognitive ability of dogs and some primates. They are capable of learning complex tasks, remembering people for years, and they can communicate with humans through gaze and body language. Goats have those famous side slitted eyes, those rectangular pupils, which give them 320 to 340-degree panoramic vision. This allows them to spot predators and navigate terrain better than most animals. Goats have been domesticated for 10,000 years. They were one of the first animals domesticated by humans, originally for their milk, meat, skins, and, of course, companionship. A really fun and random fact about goats is that apparently they can recognize other goats even by photo. A 2016 study from the Queen Mary University of London showed goats can distinguish and remember faces of other goats from photographs, a trait they share with humans, dogs, and again, some primates. Now, here is how Arapawa goats flip the script. They have not been altered by industrial farming. Most modern goats have been selectively bred for milk or meat yields, but Arapawas, they're as close as it gets to a pre-industrial goat, with adaptations shaped only by natural survival, not human intervention. Many goats are nimble, but Arapawas raised on cliffs and dense forests for centuries have developed extreme balance, independence, and terrain awareness. They're like the parkour experts of the goat world. So, Whereas many domestic goats will approach anyone with food, Araparas are wary and slow to trust. This is a trait left over from generations spent avoiding humans during culling campaigns. Their affection is hard won but incredibly meaningful. Because they've had to survive on sparse native bush, Araparas can make do with less nutritious feed than most domestic goats, and that makes them much more self sufficient in a conservation setting. Lastly, their genetics are a time capsule. I sort of touched on this. Arapawa goats are a closed gene pool with incredibly rare DNA markers. Preserving their bloodlines is essential not just for breed diversity, but for the future of disease resistance and heritage traits in caprine populations. Saving the Arapawa goat isn't just about goats. It's about preserving biodiversity. It's about honoring genetic history that can't be recreated once it's gone. And it's about teaching people, especially kids, that not all animals are just livestock. Some carry stories, legacy, and lessons. In a world where industrial farming has pushed us toward fewer and fewer dominant breeds, we've lost over 1,000 livestock breeds in the last century alone. Each loss isn't just a footnote, it's a narrowing of the gene pool, a loss of resilience, and a missed opportunity to learn. Arapawa goats remind us that even the most remote, forgotten corners of the world can produce something irreplaceable. So you might be wondering, how can I help? And honestly, just knowing they exist is a huge first step because awareness leads to curiosity, and curiosity leads to action. So if you're local, come visit us at Dalby Farm. Meet Sheldon. Learn about what makes his breed so special. And if you're not local, share this episode. Talk about the fact that farm breeds do go extinct, that there is such a thing as endangered livestock. Support farms and sanctuaries that work with rare heritage breeds, because protecting rare animals isn't just about saving the past, it's about securing a future where diversity still matters. The Arapawa Island Goat is one of the rarest goats on Earth, but here at Dalby Farm they're part of our story, and hopefully now they're a part of yours too. We'll keep doing our part to care for them, to share them, and to protect them, because every hoof print they leave reminds us that nature's treasures aren't always loud, although he is, but sometimes they're quiet and cautious, worth every ounce of effort to preserve nonetheless. Until next time, take care and don't forget to appreciate the rare and wonderful things in life. Thank you for listening, and if you want to support our mission, share this podcast, follow us on social media, and come visit us at dalbyfarm.com. Our country store has something for everybody.